Well, good morning, YouTube. I fired this thing up last night. It was getting late. The choke was stuck closed. Whoa! Don't break the fluid. Fire. But today, it's all nice and cold. I put the rest of a gallon of transmission fluid in it. My main concern here is I'm hoping that this transmission is good. I've got it jacked up so the wheels will turn, and I've got it in drive. I'm going to try to see if the wheels are going to turn at all. I don't know if I've got fluid up into my cooler or not. That's my main concern. I don't want to fry this thing running it with no fluid in it. It's full of fluid and it's plugged in. I rechecked the choke here. I got it, it's pretty cold out here. It's not real cold, but I got the choke just barely set where it's closed on a high idle right now. I've got the timing light hooked up. I got the advance set at 28 degrees. I've kind of got it pointed in there. I don't know if it'll start or not. It should start pretty easy. And also found my oil line. Oil pressure gauge was plugged up, or it was twisted, kinked. So that's why I wasn't having any oil pressure. I got it straight, so we're going to see if we've got oil pressure and wheels turning. Yeah. Boy, that peaked out good. Well, I did that once I shut it off. And that's going to be a real bitch on the clean. But the wheel was turning. I don't know why it blew it out here once I shut it off. That's never seen that happen before. That's probably about as long as I want to run it with no water or anything in it. We'll just get this transmission fluid cleaned up best I can. Well, I did a little checking. I checked the fluid, and the fluid now is right at the full mark. I've got a little drip coming out of the return line. What I did is put my hose here in a can for the return side, and I'm just going to see if this thing is squirting any fluid through it. It's, like I said, it was dripping out of the return, so there's probably fluid going through it. I don't know. That transmission has always been kind of a dicey deal. Let's see if it'll do something. Didn't blow fluid out anyway. I started it to drive. Oh, no. I got a lot of fluid coming out of it now from the back. So I don't know. Maybe I got my pressure and my other lines mixed up. I'll have to check on YouTube and see. Well, speaking of silver linings, it's a super cream degreaser I was trying to make some videos of. This definitely is a good place to try it. Got it all over the firewall, motor, transmission, frame, floor. So, we'll just spray it down with the sticky foam stuff. It really messes up paint. I hate doing paint work and mechanic work. They just don't mix. In this case, that's working good. Running it right off. I'll let it set a while and get some water and wash it off, I'll try to mop up the rest of that fluid there on the floor. Back to the transmission situation. A while ago when I started it, it was having fluid coming out of this rear thing here, and I thought this was the return side. Anyway, I took both lines off, I blew through the cooler. The cooler is passing fluid. Everything seems to be working good there. I blew through this back port, and it blew through the front port. So whatever's in the transmission, it's open in there. So I just put it back together. I'm gonna try to start it again and try to go through my gears, see if I can't get it to turn again. I might have just added way too much fluid in it. It might be not filling up that torque converter. I have no idea what's going on. I'm not a transmission guy, but I'll give it another test. Looks like I'm going to mop up that transmission fluid. I can see the zipper clean running down. Maybe that'll help clean the floor too. Well, yeah, I should have at least poured water in this thing. For some reason, when I had it in neutral is when it started taking off, and when I put it in reverse, it shifted. So, I don't know, maybe this shifter's weird. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, the good thing is that it turned. And I just don't get it though, why the way it's working in neutral. Reverse didn't seem to do anything, it shifted up. But I know this is park. Yeah, that's park, so this has to be reverse. And Neutral is the next notch, but it's running in neutral. But that's fine. I had nightmares about taking this thing out again. And don't know what I'm doing, trying to fix it. But turned over and I didn't have any brakes. I stepped on them. Probably something there in the back. I know I got a good pressure, so that's a minor problem fixing brakes. Look like this front cylinder is running pretty hot, but they all look pretty even. It just fires right up now. You just touch it and it goes boom. Yeah, wheel was turning again. It's in neutral. Well, I'm gonna check the fluid levels in this thing, or check the transmission fluid, see where it's at. I used TransX. It's a additive that you put in transmission fluid, and it really works good at cleaning up old transmissions. I've used it many times and always had real good luck with it. So I'll go get some TransX and another quart of fluid. Let me check it and see what it is. Yeah, I checked that and it's not even on a stick. So that was probably I don't know what caused it to blow back like it did, but at least I know now the pump is pumping everything through there. It's down a quart at least. So I put about 4.5 quarts in it. It blew out about half a quart here. So I think I've read everything from 5 quarts to 13 quarts on these, but I think I'll be good with another quart and a quart of TransX. We'll let this thing cool off. I should measure my hoses. I wanted to get some kind of fancy chrome hoses, but I might just get a couple 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/8, measure it. This is a pretty big one here. That's probably 1 1/4 at least. Well, I'll see what I can do. I hate to spend, $20, $30 on each hose, or however much it costs, and I'm not going to use them anyway. Well, I'll measure it up anyway, and I'll get some kind of hose on it because I got to put water in it. I want to run it long enough to tell something. Well, I went around and around with this. The charger whirler, as our friend Derek would say. I had the old one there. Luckily it had some brackets on it. I can't put it on that side because I've got that dipstick tube and stuff coming up through there, so it has to go on this side, and this side's empty. Now, I did figure out a bunch of spacers, and I can get it bolted here onto the head. I tried putting it down here on the bottom. It's no go. This, you can see there that the back of the alternator and the wires and stuff, some of it's hitting, it's too close. So I don't like it sticking up there in the air like that. But that's what it is. And then I've got this bracket here for adjusting the tension. And there's really no place to put it. I might be able to get this, see, I can get a bolt in that, but I'm 3/4, that might work. I might be able to get a bolt in there. I probably can, actually. Yeah, I think that'll work. I'll just have to put a much longer bolt in there. Kind of hate to do that because it's a blind hole. Or is it? Anyway, it's a bolt going into a aluminum housing. The other choice I have is put it on this side, and there's nothing to hook to, and there's no provisions on this alternator for anything other than those two holes. So it looks like that the hole I'm going to have to use is there in a water pump, and I don't even know if I can get a bolt that long in there with the pump pulley on. So I'm just kind of going around the circle here trying to figure out how to do this. Well, I put this on kind of temporarily. I'm going to have to make some brackets and everything, and then find a fan belt, and then find hoses for the radiator. And I don't want to just hook it up, you know, spend a couple hours just hooking it up and then have to do it all over again. So I'm just going to do it right. The motor's cooled down. This is the Trans-X, made by CRC. Used to be $9 a quart when transmission fluid was probably $1.50. It's $14 now. Stops, slips, fixes leaks, restores seals. Well, I don't think I got any of that, but it was a quart low. I put a quart in it. I've got it in neutral where it turned into a drive shaft before. I'll get ready and I'm going to fire it up. I did change the timing a little last time. I advanced it a little, and I found out one of my brake lines I've made here is leaking a little bit, so I put some fluid in it. I think I got brakes so I can lock that back wheel back there. So I'm just gonna start it up and see what kind of results I get. Nothing. I'm gonna knock these off. Yep. No power. Well, it was hustling along pretty good there. And went to step on the brake and kicked my key switch out and off. Oh my Lord, this I don't know. Didn't seem to work in reverse. Really strong fumes. Forgot to turn the fan on. It was moving right along. I need to find that fuel cylinder leak or whatever it is. Get that fixed. Of course, my brake pedal's only a few inches long, so I can't really get a good press on the brake. But I did get it to slow it down, and you can hear the motor being pulled down. I'm going to check my fluid and see what happened. Well, I disconnected the shifter and I manually put it into reverse. So I'm going to fire it up in reverse. And it was low on transmission fluid. I had to put about another half a quart in it and see what happens with reverse. Well, you can see the wheels are spinning. Fumes are getting to me. I don't have any air to start with. but brakes are slowing it down a little now, and I can hear the torque converter. I think that valve body's gummed up. So, you know, I was shifting it all the way down to low and back up into where you could hear the parking cogs kind of grind a little. It's trying to go into park. But it definitely is not not shifting like it should. But I think it's that old valve body's gummed up. But I'm sure I got enough that Trans-X run through there now. You know, because that valve body was just, I had to hammer and pound on it to get it to come loose, and I never did take the valve completely out. So, real good chance that, you know, there's something in the valve body itself, just keeping it in gear. But at least the transmission turns. I got fluid in it, so I'm not going to be running anything major. Pulling apart a valve body, I can handle that. But I think this Trans-X will probably free it all up. Well, I fired it up and took my shifter cable off, and I checked everything. And if this thing goes clockwise, it's going backwards, and counterclockwise, it's going forward. And I got it to start it in reverse. It was going in reverse. Went to neutral, it still kept going. Of course, the torque converter is probably dragging a little. But 1, 2, 3 worked. I could go up to neutral. I could go into reverse, and you can hear it bog down and see the drive line change the directions. I wound up putting a whole quart of extra transmission fluid in it, plus a quart of that Trans-X. But now I know that it's all the servos are working, and it's got forward and reverse. And torque converter works because I put the brake on it, bog it down, it'll stall. My oil pressure, it was just kinked. It looks like I was right about the middle there, which is about 45-50 pounds of pressure at idle. So I'm sure that's good. Transmission is right at full now. Shift through all the gears. I don't have any leaks. I mean, it got drips from where I blew it all out a while ago. I don't know what happened. I think I might have had a little something in it, and when I unhooked the lines and blew through the transmission itself with fluid in it, I blew it out. I didn't have any fluid when I was blowing everything before, so anyway, I'm kind of pleased with it. These header pipes are turning a nice, even, perfect lathe chip color. Looks like this one's running a little hot there in front, a little cold in back. I only got one bolt on it. I looked everywhere in a hardware store for this. I finally found a lock nut that was the 1/8 by 24 thread, and that was the only one I could find in the whole store. Haven't tightened it up yet, but the motor sounds good, fires right up. Just touch it, boom. And I still don't have the timing right. I was playing around there with the timing light, and I could tell it was slow, so I sped it up a little. I could hear it smooth out real good. So I don't know what it's at right now. Probably about 25-30 degrees. Don't know, but it starts good. I could just keep doing that, moving ahead a little until it starts to lug. But as far as I'm concerned, this is good enough. Now I can go ahead and finish mocking up all this belts and hoses business and get some water in it. Well, I thought I'd take a little break and do an unboxing video. This is kind of part of the fun of my building these things. You're always getting parts. Parts is parts. I don't know if you remember that old Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial. Old goofy guy at the chicken place. Get chicken McNuggets or something and wants to know what it's made out of. He says, parts. Parts is parts. And the actor that played that, Ernest something or other, that was his name, I forget. Anyway, we got to be pretty good friends. You know what I mean, Vern? Well, this would be a gas gauge, and I can do something. Whoa, look at that. About time. Yeah, now I can mock up my electrical connections back there and back. Get away from grease and bondo. This one, probably a light switch. Yep. I discovered this gas gauge and bad light switch on the same day. Ordered 2 new ones. Returned the old ones. That last light switch I got was close to gone. This is all bent. Well, this one is kind of too. But this was so hard to turn, I couldn't turn it. Oh yeah, that was real good. And this mounting screw here is just plastic, all stripped out. This is a good steel one. Looks nice. Yeah, looks like that's stainless. Screws in real good. All right. Got to have a dome light, you know. This is not turn on, just there. But it feels real good. The other one was just junk, I'm telling you. I was going to try to make it work rather than mess with it, but go with it. Took a few days, I did another one. This is kind of big. Oh, from my wife. Like some kind of shelf bracket or something. Anyway, 2 parts that I can use. I can go ahead and I got a unit that modifies any sender to any gauge. And but I ordered this one 0 to 90 ohms, and that's what the tank is. So I may not have to do anything, but I'll keep that converter handy. So anyway, a couple more things to do and bring you a little fresh content. Well, the gauge was no drama at all. Empty, it shows empty. There's half. Pretty close. Full. Shows full. And empty is yeah, it looks like it's right the middle of the mark. So I don't get to use my fancy converter at all. So the gauge is perfect. No problem at all. Now I have to hook up the float and stuff and get it put back in the tank. That should be fairly simple. Well, I hooked it up real straightforward. It's down on the bottom hitting the tank right now. You can hear it. That was working a while ago. There's half. I don't know why it's not showing it. There's full. It was working fine just a minute ago. Should be full. Maybe I gotta unplug it and start over. Oh, I got some wires here that are, yeah, this was touching the tank. Yeah, that'll kind of mess it up. So there's half, there's empty, there's full, about 3/4, half, got a little stepper motor in it, and there's empty. It goes right down, hits the bottom of the tank. And that's what I wanted. Don't have to use my fancy adapter or nothing. So, one more little step in the saga. Now I can put this all back together. And I know that my gauge works back here. I'll just have to wire it. So like and subscribe, guys. I'll try to get this thing uploaded, and I'll get that gauge mounted and stuff tomorrow and get some wires in it. I've got a hole for it. I cut it the other day, but drive line's turning both ways. I still got to mount that charger whirler, and we'll see you next video.